Hello, Marvelites. You're watching Marvel's The Pull List, and I'm Ryan, aka Agent M.
And I'm Tucker Marcus.
This year is Marvel's 80th anniversary, and for our part, we want to celebrate by taking an episode every month and diving into a specific decade. We are continuing with the 1950s. Tucker, what are we talking about?
We're kind of looking at this from like an art history perspective, but also in terms of the lineage of Marvel Comics, where it all started back in the day, these different genre comics specifically. We've picked 4 of them to see how the roots have grown into the big pillars, the big trees of the House of Ideas to this day. And we're starting with Marvel Boy number 1. This is really fascinating because, yes, it's kind of a superhero-y story. It also has these sci-fi elements, which are really interesting, but it's written by Stan Lee. It has that kind of innocence, it has that charm at the heart of it with this young hero who's from a different planet. It is really cool to see this as like a direct influence on something that would come back around later.
Don't forget to mention that Marvel Boy, he is kind of an Earthman, but he comes from Uranus. He was sent to Uranus as a child, but then comes back from Uranus to Earth to help the Earth people.
Ryan, I've told you 1,000 times it's pronounced Uranus, okay? I remind you again.
Well, agree to disagree, but I gotta talk about my first book, which is Journey into Mystery number 1 from 1952. We're talking about the lineage and the connections between all these books, and this one has plenty of Stan Lee in it, which is really neat, but it's also, Journey into Mystery is the book that would eventually be the home of the mighty Thor. But here, we've got cool mystery, weird tales. I mean, you just look at this cover with the hands coming out, Russ Heath's just wild faces and really emotive expressions, and you get just gnarly, really cool stuff. Each of these stories in Journey into Mystery and one of the other books have 5 stories. They jam-pack these comics. They give you tons and tons to read. It's really neat.
Totally. Next book up is Strange Tales number 28. When you're thinking back to what the 1950s are in your mind, it's this kind of really fun and campy, kind of pulpy stuff, light-hearted fare at times. You would think, but no, I mean, it gets really hardcore in some of these stories. Yeah, really dark, really horrific, scary stuff. So it was really interesting to see them testing the waters, to see where the boundaries were. And Strange Tales, of course, would eventually evolve into Doctor Strange's book. To see the roots, the horror roots of that character was really, really interesting. It was something that I was frankly just completely shocked by.
We talk about all these genre books and different types of stories. We don't really talk about superheroes in the 1950s, but in 1953, we tried to bring the superheroes back with Young Men number 24, which brought back Namor the Submariner, Captain America and Bucky, and of course, the Human Torch. He is front and center here. The superheroes at this point, this is 1953, they'd been gone for 4 years. And so here we were like, let's see if the time is right to bring superheroes back. These are really fun stories. The Human Torch story actually plays up the fact that he's been gone for 4 years. They're like, oh yeah, he got covered by a substance and thrown in a ditch for 4 years, and now he's back. You got great creators, Stan Lee working on the Cap and Human Torch stories, John Romita Sr. on Captain America, Bill Everett, the creator of Namor, coming back, doing a really terrific story. It's a really cool snapshot of the superhero attempts that we made in the 1950s. But if you want to hear us talk about these books in more depth, a bunch more, talk about the 50s comics in general, check out Marvel's The Pull List, our special 80th anniversary 50s episode, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back with more videos soon. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Tucker.
And this is Marvel,
Your Universe.